Okie dokie, boys and girls, kids of all ages. I think you did a decent job with factoring the regular trinomials, but here I'm going to start off with this. If I have 3x plus 2 as a binomial, and I am multiplying that by x plus 3. I have 3x plus 2, and I'm multiplying that by x plus 3. Alyssa, you with me? Okay. First of all, what the approach I do to multiply binomials, Mary, a Schubert? What do I call that? Handy dandy little. It's not tin, it's not aluminum, it's tin blank, aluminum blank.
No, foil.
Yes. Foil, okay. You're using foil. Remember, to get the trinomial you use foil. You do the two first terms. 3x times x is 3x squared. Okay. Our last term, let's do the last term right now just because it gives you the 2 times the 3, which is 6. The part we're really interested in today is the middle term. Because the middle term comes from the combination of the outside multiplied terms by the inside multiplied terms. And take a look what happens here. This is the big thing here. You have to know that the two outside terms get multiplied together, and 3x times 3 is 9x, and then 2x times x is 2x. So when you add those together, you end up with an 11x. Because the difference in today, what we do in the trinomials and what we've done before, is that this first term is no longer just an x squared or whatever, it's going to be a number. And you have to remember that when you break this into a binomial, whatever number, first of all, there's only one way to get 3x squared. One would be 3x and one would be x. Whatever number you put here gets multiplied by this number over here to get your middle term there. So it throws like another wrench into the whole fire here or whatever. Mixing
Same
metaphors.
here.
Fire.
Throws a new wrench into the mechanism. Throws a new coal into the fire. Whatever it is here. Let me give you one.
A new piece of salami in the sandwich.
Yes, it throws a whole new piece of bread into the 2x squared plus 7x plus 5. 2x squared plus 7x plus 5. Now most of the rules stay the same. Okay, this is going to break down into a binomial. Okay, there's only one way to get 2x squared, and that's for one to be 2x and one to be an x. Okay, I have no other choices with 2x squared. And this is still the same. The first thing you look at is what times what gives you a positive 5. Well, I can have a positive 5 and a positive 1, or a negative 5 and a negative 1. Okay, but here is the kicker in the situation here. Okay, whatever number I put over here, whether it be the positive 5 or the positive 1, gets multiplied by this 2x. I can't just say 5 plus 1 gives me 7 anymore. Because whatever number I put here gets multiplied by this and added to that to give me 7. So your two choices are either to put the positive 5 here and the positive 1 there, or to put the positive 5 with the 2x and the positive 1 with the x. And what you have to do to figure out which one is the right answer is you need to do this. Here is 2x times 5, which gives you 10x. Oh, I forgot to put the negatives in there. And here, plus 1x. If I use this one here, I get an 11x middle term. So that's not good. If I use this one here, I get a 2x plus a 5x, which is 7x. So this is the right one. I could have also used my negative 5s and my negative 1s, but since I didn't have a negative up here, there's no way it could be negative. So this is your answer. Okay? So you have to consider the stuff that, and they get really complicated. If this would have been a 6, if this would have been a 6x squared, there's a whole bunch of different ways to get 6x. You can get 6 times 1, 2 times 3. It's 2x plus 5x plus 1. Which one are we talking about? 3x.
The one that, wait.
We're on this one. This one I know the answer was what I started with up here. I'm going to give you a whole new one here, and we're going to walk through it step by step. Let's go with, oh boy. 6x squared minus 11x plus 3. 6x squared minus 11x, what did I say, plus 3? Now, here we go. Here's what the book does. The book just starts rattling off all the possible combinations you could have to get this. Okay. First of all, how many different ways can I get 6x squared? Well, I could either take 6x times x. We're not going to worry about the negatives. Okay. Or I could take 2x times 3x. That'll also give me 6x squared. Okay. How many different ways can I get positive 3? Well, just 3 times 1, but you could have the positives or the negatives. Okay. To get positive 3, I can have positive 3 times positive 1, or a negative 3 times a negative 1. So here are all the different combinations you could have. You could have 6x plus 3 plus 1. Okay, but you could reverse those and it's going to change that as well. So you could have 6x plus 1 times x plus 3. Okay, those are the combinations that you can have with the 6x at the beginning and the 1 and the 3. Then I can have the same thing with the 2x and the 3x. I could have the plus 1 plus 3, or I could flip it around and have the 2x plus the 3 times the 3x plus the 1. Now, I still need to do that same thing with the negative possibilities, because I only did the positives there. So I can do my 6x and my x minus 3 minus 1, or the flip of that, which is 6x minus 1 times x minus 3. Then I still need to do this one, which is the 2x minus 3 times the 3x minus 1, or the reverse where these two are in different spots, which is 2x minus 1 times x minus 3. Those are all, I see some of you looking at me like I'm crazy here. Those are all the different combinations that will give you a 6x squared at the beginning and a positive 3 at the end. Okay, those are all the combinations that you could actually get to get these two things. You need to come up and figure out the one that's going to give you a minus 11x middle term. And how do I do that? You just have to look at it. 6x, positive 6x and a positive 3x, what's my middle term for this one? 6x plus 3x, this is a 9x middle term, can't be this one. What's my middle term for this one? 2x times 6x plus 3x is, did I do one of these wrong? Oh, no, I wanted to do this one, sorry. This was my 3 times 6 is 18x plus 1x is 19x, way too big. I want the minus 11. This one also gives me a 9x, we just talked about that, 6 plus 3. What does this one give me? 2x plus a 9x. It gives me a positive 11x. It's close, but it's a positive, not a negative, so I can't use that one, it has to be negative. So it's got to be one of these 4 down here. And you can think about it, if we needed the opposites, you know it's going to be this one. Or wait, where did it go? Oh, this one. Yeah, well, let's do this one first. 6x and minus, that's a minus 6x, and a minus 3x is a minus 9x. Still not right. This is a minus 18x and a minus 1x, which is a minus 19x. This is a minus 2x and a minus 9x, which is a minus 11x, which is the one that I wanted. Now, you don't have to write down all the combinations there, but you have to be aware that that's what you can do. It gets really complicated when you think about having a first term that can be split into at least 2 different things there, or ways there. Let me throw you another one here. How about this one? 4x squared plus 4x minus 3. 4x squared plus 4x minus 3. I'm going to give you a second to figure that out. Give me some combinations. Splitting 4x You can split this either into 4 and 1 or 2 and 2. That's nice because there's only one combination to get a -3. It's either -1 or +3 or -3 +1. If you struggle with it, then maybe, just maybe, you have to write down all those combinations. Got an answer? Let's see what we got here. Lizzie Leadham says,
2x plus 3, 2x minus
first of all, let's make sure we get the right first term and the right last term. 2x times 2x is 4x squared. +3 times -1 is that. Now what do we get for a middle term? Well, you got to do this times this, which is a -2x, and this times this, which is a +6x. And you put those two together, you do in fact get the +4x. How many people actually had that? Yikes! Well, you could have 2x minus 1 over here, sure. Yeah, doesn't matter. This binomial can be flip-flopped with that binomial. Questions on where that came from? Or why you didn't get it, or why you do get it, or... We go one more. 3x squared minus 11x minus 4. 3x squared minus 11x minus 4. 3x squared minus 11x minus 4. X squared minus 11x minus 4. Got an answer?
Yeah.
Did Victory got an answer? Well, the nice thing is there's only one way to get 3x squared. So it's my hope that everybody at least started off with 3x and x. Now there's a couple ways to get -4, but who knows what there. Schubert, did you get something?
I don't think it's I
Well,
tracked it out. It wasn't
what did you put here, in here? What times what gives you -4?
I don't know why. I had it. I don't know.
You got many choices for to get -4.
Yeah. Just the when I tried to get
Did you put 4 and 1 in?
Yeah.
Where'd you put the 4?
the first one.
Well, let's try that. If you put 4 and 1 here, mean, you can ask yourself right away, if you put 3 times 1 is 3 and 4 times 1 is 4, there's no way to get an 11 with those two numbers. So you know that's not gonna be right, and then I would switch it and try the 1 and the 4. 3 times 4 is 12, 1 times x is 1. Is there a way to get 11 with 12 and 1? Yeah, subtract.
Well, yeah.
So you want the 11 to be positive, so you put a negative here because that gives you a negative 12x. Put a positive 1 there, that gives you a negative 4. 1 times x is plus 1. What's positive 12 or negative 12x plus 1 is negative 11x. This works. Okay. Well, after a while, you kind of get used to it. You know when you start putting numbers here that gets multiplied by that, you think right away. You can is there a way to get an 11 with what you got by adding or subtracting, and that would be the thing to do there. Now, I'm gonna give you a little.